Hello. So I'm Steven, and you already know Simon. If you weren't on the first course, you might not recognize me, but I'm the TA, and I've been commenting a little bit. But most of the discussion this week has been very good, and you're handling most of the issues on your own, which is exactly what we want to see in a MOOC. And so this week was all about kind of processes and messaging. And so we've set up this nice world where we have processes and they can talk to each other, and communication is asynchronous, which is really nice because that prevents a lot of deadlock issues and kind of gets rid of a lot of things like race conditions as well that are, I guess, common pitfalls of concurrency in a more conventional language.
I guess, yeah, I mean, in particular, the nice thing about having messages delivered to a mailbox rather than having to be processed immediately, you can process messages in the order you choose, so you don't have to process them in the order they arrive in. You don't have to process them at all. If you don't handle a message of a particular kind, it just sits there in the mailbox. Now, that's not ideal, and for a bigger system, if it's running for a long time, you can finish up with a message processing getting slower and slower, but it's not causing you an error straight off.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of you recognize that this might be a nice system, but there's still gaps where bugs can kind of seep in, and so that's kind of what this next week, or this current week now, week 2, is a focus on, is that how do we fail in Erlang.
So I guess the language was, and I think this is a point I tried to make through the course, that you can see that it's been well designed. The bits fit together very well. So we've got this model of asynchronous communication, but some things can explicitly fail. So for example, even though sending a message to a PID never fails, sending a message to a named process can fail if that named process doesn't exist, or if the name isn't bound to a process. So that can fail. Other things can fail. Hardware can fail. A network communication connection can fail. Things can fail for internal reasons. So the question is, how do we deal with those things? And there are two different mechanisms. Erlang has a traditional try-catch, which you can characterize as defensive programming. Yeah. It's saying, I'm the program running, and I'm going to try and handle everything that goes wrong. I'm going to try something. The thing I try might fail. I'd better make sure I have something in place to deal with that. It's defensive, and it means your code has. It's no longer simply doing one thing. It's not only doing the thing it's meant to do, but it's also doing trying to anticipate all the ways that or some of the ways at least, that things can go wrong.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to quote Donald Rumsfeld, which is not something I say very often. What you can do with try-catch, with the error, exception handling, which you'll find out about, you can deal with the known unknowns, if you like. But what you can't deal with are the unknown unknowns.
Yeah.
So the other mechanism is Erlang's system of letting things fail and assuming that another part of the system, not you yourself, but something else in the system, will deal with that.
Supervises and picks up the pieces.
Yeah. So so typically there's a supervision model where each process is under the supervision of another, and though that second process can deal with the case when the first process fails for some reason. But we'll also find out about how one of if you have a complicated system of communicating processes and bits of the system stop working, how do you sweep that up? How do you make sure you get rid of all the processes that are running? And this is this mechanism of exit signals. So that cuts across communication. It's different from communication. Yeah. But it does articulate with it. So this is one of the really nice bits of design, that you can selectively say, I want to turn that signal into a traditional message.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as Stephen said, I think we're very happy with how things have gone so far. We encourage you to comment. If there are questions you have for us, put them into comments, and we'll get back to them. But we're really pleased with the way you've been talking to, just helping each other out, finding things out on the web. So I know that the last week you were worried about, in some cases, about what you do in cases of failure. The way we structured the course was to have the first week talking about things when they're working properly, and then at the second week to deal with what to do when things fail. So a lot of your questions from last week, which some have been discussed in the comments, do get answered this week, we hope.
Yeah.
So I think that's it from us.
That's it, yeah. Hope you enjoy the second week, and keep putting your new questions on the site, and we'll handle those appropriately. Maybe in a video, maybe other people can help you find information. And if you have comments, just general comments about the resources you find, we also really enjoy reading those as well. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks very much.
thank you.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.